OrlandoMagic.com.
Cliff, I know you mentioned yesterday that if James felt good this morning after going through everything, he'd have a chance to play today. How's James doing? Will you have him, and how will you start tonight?
Yeah, he's good to go, and he'll play. He'll be restricted a little bit, and we're gonna start differently. We're gonna play MCW at 1, Evan, James will start at 3, Kim will start at 4, and Vooch will start at 5.
Josh Robbins, The Athletic.
Steve, what's your rationale for moving Kem into the starting lineup at the 4 tonight?
Well, there's a couple of things. One is, to be honest, it's just, again, we're still, now that we got guys coming back, we got guys on minute restrictions, and we have to be able to get to the minutes per position, right? So, Chief can play, he can only play so many minutes. Chuma's on somewhat of minute restrictions. So, to get to the minutes in each spot, frankly, that was one. And then the other one is, we functioned well in Golden State with Kim. He might be the best matchup to defend Draymond, if he's able to play when he's at the 4. But we also played well with him out there when they were smaller. So, for this next stretch here, it's going to be different guys, different nights. We just don't have a grouping right now with guys trying to get into shape and everything where we're going to be able to play the same guys every night. And it's not ideal, but it's just the way it is.
James Hill, Black News Channel.
Coach, can you talk about how important it is to get out on the perimeter and defend in the transition against Golden State? They're active and they like to shoot the three-pointer a lot.
Yeah, no, I mean, it'll be a big part of the game. They're second in pace, they're second in fast break points. You've got to get with Steph early. I mean, he's got unbelievable range, but they also get a lot of their threes when Draymond busts out and brings the ball up the floor. He's such a great passer and decision maker, and it's a different dynamic even in our league, where you get a 4 or 5 man who's that creative and can, get the ball going to the basket and pass off the dribbles. So they're going to be running at every opportunity, and that's where the game's going to start is, the fast break game. We've got to make sure we get back and get our defense set.
Coach, Vooch's presence is being felt around the league in the post every time you see the Orlando Magic play. Can you speak a little bit about his all-star campaign? And again, every night you see Orlando, Vooch is always in the post and doing an outstanding job.
Yeah, and he gets extra attention every night. I mean, he's double teamed in the post on almost every catch. And our offensive efficiency when we play through him is terrific. So, I mean, he's having obviously an all-star caliber year. The only negative I see is just our record. I mean, that could be a factor in this, but I'll be both surprised and very disappointed if he doesn't make it. He's played at an incredibly high level.
Dan Savage, OrlandoMagic.com.
Cliff, kind of along those lines, and with starting Kem, how much can your size be an advantage tonight against the Warriors team that's perhaps lacking a little bit of it right now?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, in order for us to win tonight, we need to do 2 things. We need to get back and set our defense. We also need second chance points, and that's the other part. One of the other major parts of starting Kem. At Golden State, we had 22 second chance points. It was a big part of us staying within, striking distance. So that was one of the other factors in deciding to start this way tonight.
Josh Robbins, The Athletic.
Given the importance and the opportunity of second chance points, do you relax some of your offensive rebounding rules for one night only?
Well, no, I mean, to be honest, Josh, it's a good question, but one of the issues, and we spent a lot of time on this yesterday, is we have to do both, and we're not. We have to get second chance points, and we have to be back. And it can be done. I mean, teams do it every year. We're not. You know, we're actually, our offensive rebounding numbers, I think we're top 5, 6 in the league. But our defensive transition has suffered because of that. And I'm not going to go away from it. We need those points. We don't have a lineup, even to start the year, frankly, where we're going to score enough points if we don't get other ways to score. Second chance points has been good to us. But what we have, and it's really, you know, I specifically went to some guy. We just have some guys who aren't understanding that when the ball's in the air and you can see it's not coming to you, you need to be back. It's as simple as that. They're not doing both. And it's really, how can I say, it's a personal responsibility. You know, like you talk to people about turnovers. So I always go to football guys. And I remember Ron Rivera, I said, what do you do if you have a guy that fumbles the ball? It's a personal responsibility. They don't get to play, you know, and it's going to get to be the same thing with our team. We're not going to win if we don't continue to score our second chance points. We're also not going to win until we start getting back on defense. And it really comes down to just being more disciplined and making better decisions.
Roy Perry, Orlando Sentinel.
Steve, just kind of along those lines of finding ways to score, how pleased have you been lately with the way you guys have been able to convert turnovers into points? And how much does Michael play a role in kind of getting the pace going for those points?
Yeah, I'm hoping. I also think that Farouk, you know, as he gets into rhythm and plays, he can create. We have some things that you can just see that with this group, with this team, not other teams, other places. With this team, we've been good at that. We're not. Transition defense is 1. Protecting the paint is 2. We've gotten a lot better with that lately. But one of the biggest things, if you look at this year compared to last year we were top 7 or 8 in both deflections and steals. And I think we were like 11th in points off turnovers. This year we're in the 20s. And Mike can be a big part of that. I think Farouk can be big part of it. You only need a couple of guys that can change that. Because we need to score off our defense. We're not. It's not even close to what we need to be and what it was last year. So that's another thing. And then the other one, as we're talking about it, is it's our turnovers. You know, I mean, we got to be low turnover. You can't have a team. And I'll go back. This is all stuff that we talked about at the beginning of the season. We don't have a roster here where we're going to go 120 a night. So we can't turn the ball over and we can't not get back on defense, and we have to score off our defense. And those are things that have to be there. That now we are making great progress. We're getting better at those things, but you have to know who you are and you have to know what you have to do. We're a grinded out team. We've got to do the tough things. It's what we're starting to do, and that's why we're playing better.
Dan Savage, OrlandoMagic.com.
Cliff, when we were talking kind of about the offensive revolution with, 4 of the best offensive ratings in NBA history yesterday coming this season. Conversely, when you look at the defensive ratings, I think 3 of the 4 worst defensive ratings in NBA history have come this season. How much of that is just a product of the offensive revolution? And then, or, how much of it is just this particular unique season with a truncated training camp, injuries, et cetera?
I think a combination of the two, to be honest with you. Like, this is definitely, it's a different year. The lack of practice time. I think for a lot of teams, the number of injuries, which you can see are starting to come a little bit more now, just because of the condensed schedule and how much guys are playing. And then I think the whole, where we're all at, right? We're no different than the players. I mean, look, these guys will play tonight and we'll have tomorrow off, and they have to be in here and test, I think, by like 9 or 9:30, then come back again tomorrow night at 5:30. And it's why our league is doing well. It's great. It's super organized, but there's so many dimensions to playing through this year that are different for the players and different for everybody else. And I do think it's difficult to, measure the impact on all of that. Where we're at as a country, I will say this, the bubble was an interesting challenge and it was difficult. It was a great experience for all of us. The bubble's not even close to this in terms of challenge, getting better. You know, the one thing in the bubble was you slept every night, right? Because you weren't in planes. And two, you walked, 5 minutes to get tested, and we practiced every day, so you could actually get better and work on things, where with this, it's much, much more challenging in that way.
Rob Parks, 48minutes.com.
How you doing, Coach? I'm in the building tonight. So last week, Steph, he went off early. Are you guys going to change your defensive scheme to stop him and slow him down? What are you guys talking about doing?
Yeah, I mean, what was hard last week, Rob, was we double teamed all of his pick and rolls, and he just got away from us because I think, like most great players in the NBA, he's so good without the ball. And then we loosened things up a little bit in the second half on his pick and rolls, and then we blitzed him again at the end. So we're about as aggressive as you can be with him. And we just got to do a better job of being attentive. When he's down on the baseline, he's coming to the ball, and he's unlike other point guards, and it's a different dimension. There's 2 or 3 different things that happen when he's out there that you don't guard every night, even in our league. And we didn't do a good job with that, and we're going to have to, because as you know, he needs no room. I mean, if he can see the basket, he can make it.
Phil Rossman-Reich, Orlando Magic Daily.
Hey, Coach. I know you've said in the past you prefer 9-man rotations. You obviously went with 11 men on Wednesday as guys have gotten back. Is that something you see? Is that something you're planning on doing again tonight, or how do you see yourself winnowing that down back to 9, or is this something that's just going to have to be permanent with how the schedule is playing out?
Yeah, we're going to play 11 tonight. For us right now, in order to get the guys on the floor that I want to play, we can't play even 10 because we can't get to 48 minutes with Chief and Chuma with their minutes that they can play. So, and then you get back to how do you piece those minutes together so you can get the group that you want to finish the game with, preferably. And so for right now, at least for this next stretch of games, we'll end up playing 3 guys at the 4 every night. And then, at the backup 5 with Kem and Mo, I've spoken with both of them. It's going to be night to night. It's going to be matchup driven. They're both going to play. And it's just a different year. I will say this: I don't see any way we get to 9 with the schedule that we're playing. Like, playing 8 and 9. This 2-week stretch for Terrence and for Dwayne. Those guys, their minutes, I mean, they were the next 2 that we kept talking about. Dwayne actually played through shin splints. It's just too many minutes and too many games. So we have, like every other team, a lot of wear and tear. And I just don't think we're going to be able to do things the way I would normally prefer to do them.
Okay, I think that's all we have time for tonight. Thank you, everyone.